Well, hello and welcome to the Bottom Line Me podcast. I'm Ann Allard, and I'm delighted today to have my colleague with me, Joe Els, to talk about a technique that Joe likes to use when he is approaching a new project. Joe, great to have you with us today. Thanks for joining me.
Oh, good morning, Ann. Thanks for having me back on the podcast. Appreciate it.
Great. It's great to see you. So as I just mentioned, wanted to talk to you a little bit about a technique that you like to use when you're brainstorming an idea or approaching a new project or perhaps just attacking a problem called mind mapping. So let's start off by you giving us some idea of what is mind mapping exactly.
Absolutely. It's a fantastic technique. It's visually stimulating, but it's structured in converting, our thoughts and ideas into tangible, actionable ideas. So quite simply, mind mapping is you have an idea, a thought. Let's use, for example, a program I recently put together, presentation skills for Agency University. And well, there's your first theme or thought, right? Presentation skills. So put that in the middle of paper. You can use a whiteboard. You could even use Microsoft Word. And what you do is you start branching out the ideas that go into that. So it's a curriculum. It's a course. So who's my audience, right? So that's one branch off of the main theme. How do I want to deliver it? Okay, that's another theme of like, what medium do I want to use? And you can add, plenty of the who, what, when, where, how, and why that go into your theme. And the point is you take your thoughts that as they come up in your head and you jot them down on paper or a whiteboard and you connect them to the main theme. And so it's like a mind map, right? It's the visual of what you're pulling out of your head.
Yeah. So to recap, you really have to start with your main thought or main idea. And perhaps it's even the goal. Here's what I want to accomplish. And then you start branching out from there. Is that essentially what you're saying?
Absolutely. Yeah. So you start with your main idea, and it could be a goal, could be a project you're working on, could be anything really that you just want to, like I said, the beauty of this simple technique is to get it out of your head and onto paper to make it tangible. Yeah.
Awesome. So what would you say the difference between a mind map and just a basic to-do list? I love to-do lists. I love to check things off, but a lot of times that doesn't really help me to kind of unpack or get creative with how I'm going to approach or accomplish something. So what's the difference?
Well, I think, being a visual learner myself, the beauty of a mind map is it gives you some context. It gives you some, you can conceptualize what you want to do with this. So a to-do list, for example, is great, but a mind map kind of works from the center out. So what's the big picture? What's the overall goal? And the beauty of it is you kind of work to a to-do list, right? You start with the main idea, you build around that, and then you slowly get layers down into the tangible action items that says, okay, let me go back to my presentation skills. I want to build this program. Here's what I need to do. Here's my audience. I need to research my audience. That's the next level. So research is an action item. I want to create a video for this. That's the medium. So I've now gotten that down to, okay, I need to write a script. I need to do research. So I went from my idea and just a couple of layers down, you have your to-do list, you have your action items. And the beauty of the map is it shows you how they all link together, how they're all connected.
Yeah. It sort of reminds me of, my kids used to always like to do, and in fact, I even did it, vision boards, where they perhaps even take a magazine and start cutting out photos or articles or quotes or things like that and paste them on a big poster board. Is that another use of a mind map?
I could totally connect that in my head. I mean, I love vision boards. I've made plenty over the years, and again, the beauty of it, right, is visual affirmation. So you had this brainstorm idea, came to you, you wrote it down on paper, you made a mind map, like a vision board, you have this goal, this dream, this vision in mind, and you can see it. You can always come back to it and remember where to start. The reason I like mind mapping, and no discredit to vision boards, but vision boards are the goal. The beauty of mind mapping is you take the goal and you draw your connected thoughts to it, right? You create the map that goes from the goal to, okay, well, what do I actually need to do to take that beach Hawaiian vacation? What do I need to do to create that project? What do I need to do to make this a reality? It's not just, the vision, it's the map, the path forward. And it's certainly like a vision map in that you can see it, and what you can see, you remember.
Right. Well, I think vision boards, from my experience, they're kind of, and just based on what you just said, the vision board is kind of the inspiration, and the mind map is the direction, or the, how do I get to that thing that I'm inspired to do, or inspired to get, or want.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
And it's interesting when, I'm watching you move your hands around, and it reminds me of looking at a map. If I look at a map, I can see the whole picture, as opposed to if I put together a to-do list, I'm just looking at it vertically. But the vision board, or the mind map, it sounds to me like it's more horizontal. So you get to see it at 10,000 feet, so to speak.
That's actually a great metaphor for it. I mean, I certainly remember, life before Google Maps and Waze, and even before MapQuest, when you'd print out the step-by-step instructions, and looking at a map, the visual benefit of unfolding, like, let's say, a road map. When you have a point A where you're at and a point B where you want to go. Let's say I want to get from here in Cleveland to you out there in Boston. When you look at a map, you can find more than one path. There's more than one way there. When you see the whole thing, you can pick your route that works best for you. Might not be the most direct, because that's what, the linear version that would tell you step by step. But you can see that there's certainly more than one way to accomplish getting from point A to point B. And I think that speaks to not only, driving from Ohio to Massachusetts, but it also speaks to projects, that there's certainly more than one way to accomplish what you want to accomplish. And I think the other benefit of mind mapping when it comes to projects and goal setting is it's a thought in your head, right? Get it onto paper. And if it doesn't work, okay, go back. Let's go back to the next layer up and find another route, find another path. So I think in that way, the visual benefit of mind mapping, like road maps, is you see that there's more than one way.
Great. Well, you said you use it a lot when you're outlining a project, or perhaps putting together a new course. Are there any really specific areas or uses that a mind map is really the ideal way to approach something? Or is it something that you could use for just about any kind of a task or a project?
I lean towards the latter. I really think that you can use mind mapping for just about any idea that you have. Again, it's supposed to be the initial step you take from, the serendipitous idea that you have of, like, oh my gosh, I want to make this class, or I have this goal I want to meet, or I have a customer, a prospect that I want to win over, whatever it is, put it on paper, put that inspiration on paper and start building out ideas. The whole point is to make this your first stop of, what do I want to accomplish, and how do I get there? How do I build this map out to achieve it? So it really is universal. Everything from, again, build a project to land a new prospect. You simply put the ideas down and you get to the layer of action items of, okay, here's what I need to actually do to make this idea a reality.
Awesome. So you could really use it for, as you say, putting together some kind of a presentation. You could use it strategizing if you're trying, as you say, to develop a new relationship or capture a new account. I would think it'd be a great way to approach marketing strategies as well.
Oh, sure. Oh, sure. I mean, let's take that example right off the top of my head. So, middle of paper, marketing strategy. Okay, well, again, who's my audience? First bubble. Who am I trying to be in front of? Okay, what are they watching? What research should I do on that audience? How do they like to receive information? Is it digital? Is it paper marketing? Is it phone calls? Okay, well, what mediums do I have at my disposal? That's the next bubble off the main theme. Where can I? And then you just start connecting those dots to each other, and like a map, you find the route to getting to what you want to do. So, for like example, landing a prospect, it would be, okay, well, who on my target list do I want to get in front of next? Okay, well, who are they? What's their background? What do I know about them? What are the ways I could connect with them? Do we have any networking contacts in common? It's like you just find these different little ideas and routes, and you just connect the bubbles on the paper visually, and it inspires more. For me, that's really what it does. I start simple, and it starts inspiring me further on what else is out there. What haven't I thought of? What am I missing? It's just such a cool way to build out, to be the first step in building out a really great marketing strategy, prospect strategy, building curriculum. I mean, and you name it, the sky's kind of the limit.
Right. Right. Well, we're just about running out of time, but I just have to ask you one other question.
Sure.
What I was thinking about is that this probably would be a great way to strategize even in a team. Have you ever done that? Done any group mind mapping? And is that an effective way to kind of get to to the actual goal that you're trying to accomplish in something?
Yes, the short answer, yes. I can see how if you're in a meeting, like for example, we just had a team meeting not that long ago. You have a scribe, somebody in the room who's writing all this down. Start with the idea in the middle, and then off that idea, okay, this was Joe's first thought. This was Ann's first thought. Here was Andrew, Denise, everybody on our team, here's their thought around it. And what you find in meetings is so many times people are talking about the same thing, but they're using different vocabulary, and like, well, no, we're talking about the same concept. You're just describing it this way, and I'm describing it that way. A mind map could be the very real way that goes, no, Ann's discussing the podcast, and Joe's discussing it too. Okay, great. Let's connect that dot
Right.
on paper so we actually can prove
Yeah.
how we are actually unified in what we're trying to do. But vocally, we might be missing each other. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. But I also see it as an effective way to prioritize things too.
Oh, well, next layer down, right,
Yeah.
is to go, okay, what are we talking about? What project are we discussing? Okay, now let's get into, wow, clearly podcasts are priority, curriculum building is a priority, marketing is a priority. You can go through and start to take what you got out of your head and structure a really good outline and a really good action plan based on your mind mapping brainstorming.
Awesome. Great. Well, as I said, we're just about out of time. And as you know, we like to get the bottom line on whatever the topic is. So give us the bottom line on mind mapping, Joe.
Bottom line on mind mapping, try it. Practice with it. There is no perfect way to do a mind map. It could be a spiderweb theme, a flow chart, a branching. It doesn't matter. Just try it. It's a great way to get your thoughts out of your head and into real life.
Great. Well, thanks so much. It's been fun spending some time with you today. And to our audience, thanks once again for joining us. And at Agency University, we certainly do always hope that you'll continue to learn, grow, and prosper. Till next time, so long.